Hi everyone, welcome to Dave's Bonsai. On today's episode, some Portulacarry Afro work. A couple of months ago, I cut all my PAs back and I put a whole bunch of cuttings into this big round pot. I have a couple of the small bonsai pots that I put some in, some little ones, and they're growing like crazy. And I want to put the last little repot or put them in individual pots so they have about another month or so to kind of get ready and acclimated to that new pot before I put them outside in the late spring, early summer to hopefully get another great growing season. So I've got a whole bunch of things to look at here, and we're just gonna kind of maybe do a little bit of light pruning on some of these and maybe get some of these in their own individual pots. So look at this pot. So this was a bunch of cuttings from my three main bonsai Portulacarry Afros that I've been getting cuttings from, the forest of three and the two individual ones. Quick peek at all the cuttings there to the right that I cut off, and all the ones I might put into some soil in a couple of days. I think everything in here survived and getting really long and curling towards the light, and we're going to tackle that in a little bit. We'll put those into some individual pots. So we have three trees in here that are just kind of a tangled mess. Look at that. This one back here crosses to this one up here. This one right here is leaning that way. Look at that. I also see a few more of the itty bitty flies on this one. So we're going to cut off the tip of this. I'm going to keep all these tips in a pile and we're going to throw these out. So we're going to control the growth here. We're also going to get rid of some of the bugs, and then we'll spray them as well. So I'm not sure what I'm going to do with this guy here. They're kind of close together. I can reposition them in the pot a little bit, give them some more life. This one has this big funky Y split up on the top. This one has one growing way in towards there, but if it was an individual tree it would be just fine. So we have to be careful what we cut back here, knowing that these will be probably individual trees at some point. My question is if I want to put them in individual pots right now, and I may do that before today is over. So just a couple of big leaves for right now, big inside growth. I'm going to hold off on that one until we get further along, because I want to see how many pots I have for this big pot over here. So we're just going to do some just quick peeks at these to see where they're at. Okay, so a quick little prune. Just getting rid of some of the real obvious leaves that are facing down. Get some of the tips off of there to spread out that oxen, and also to get rid of some of the bugs that are on there. And we're gonna have to go ahead and we're gonna have to spray these Portulacarrys. So I got a couple of pots here. I got this recycled pot, I've got this recycled plastic pot, and they already have soil in them. This one's empty. We're gonna get some Portulacarrys in here, individual pots, so we can get these things to grow on their own. So I'm gonna have to do some plucking here. I think it's all pretty dry, so that's good. We're all set now to dig into the Portulacarry plethora of Portulacarry trees here. So it's pretty loose soil. Here we go. Got a couple of drainage screens back down here. And here are our trees, just falling apart like I hoped they would, all with really nice little root sections to them. Nothing huge, but definitely trees that can sustain themselves. Got some longer roots we can kind of trim off now and get these into individual pots. Oftentimes with bonsai trees, one of the things that people talk about and what we do is we'll put a bonsai tree in a deeper pot, bigger pot, and hopefully have a lot more massive growth. But sometimes the pots can be too big. So all of those were grown in here, and that's a lot of soil and a lot of depth, and they rooted really, really well. It actually provided a lot of good drainage with the bigger soil content in here for these PAs that, you know, they're succulents. So we didn't want to keep them super soaked, so it was really nice to have them in really well-drained soil. So now that I have the trees out of there, I'm going to go ahead and put them up here, and I'm going to pick a couple of pots, and we're going to see if we can get a couple of trees growing into some of these pots. I also have a whole bunch of little pots over here to my access to that I can put a couple of trees in there, so I have unloaded. And I even brought down one of my oval pots. Perhaps I can have a PA forest in the making. Now these aren't huge trees, it'll be a mini forest, but it'll be kind of fun to have a Portulacara forest in the works. I have the 3 triple in there, that's the bigger trees, but I'll have maybe 5 or 7 trees in here as a forest, and we'll see how that goes. So maybe I should do that one first with my trees that I think will make the forest better first. And I have all of these to choose from. So let's go ahead and get these out and we'll make some more available for us. Everything out of the pot. This one I think I'm going to keep in there for a little bit longer. We'll see how far I get tonight. But I think that guy we're going to leave alone. And we'll put him back on the shelves. So these have the pre-drained or pre-holes in there that are already screened off. So I need nothing in here but some bonsai soil. So again, we're going to recycle our soil. So I'm just going to go ahead and do that with this first layer of soil. And then I'll do this for my second layer of soil. This is soil that's not too terribly broken down, recycled soil, so it still has probably some little bits and pieces of good bacteria, I hope, in here. And these were all trees that other cuttings were in, and they've been sitting drying out in my plant room here all winter long. So we have some soil there, and now we can consider some trees for this forest. We have a whole bunch of trees. So now the challenge is going to be to pick a bunch of trees that we want for this forest. We're probably going to pick some of our bigger trees. This is a real fun looking tree right here. It's got some neat movement to it. We'll see if that one has the big curly root down there. So we'll pick out some of our bigger trees. See what we got for some potential forest material here. And then we'll get planted. Oh, here's a nice thick one right here. There we go. Of course, these might be good as individual trees too. Yeah, I like that for thick individual trees. That's a nice one. All right. Now this one has more roots on one side than the other, so it looks like it was maybe not as spread out radially nice in the pot, but when we put it back in here now and spread out the roots, I think we need a little bit more soil to raise these trees up just a little bit. So let's go ahead and grab some more soil. All the soil from the bonsai cutting pot that I used, or the terracotta plastic style that I used. There we go. So where to put these trees? Like this one is one of my main trees, just because I like the movement. So I'm going to look at this tree as maybe one of the front trees. I got this big curly root back here that I think I'm actually going to cut him off. I think he's just too gnarly. Right here, he just wrapped around the tree too much, and now there looks to be a little bit more radial pattern here. So we'll go ahead and we'll cut that off just like that, and there's our new root structure. And I have this tree coming over this way. Let's do that and add some soil around him. And this will be a planting that I might need to put some rocks in here, so it can stand up and be secure for the early part of the planting until the roots take place. See, this one's heavy now, top heavy, and it's going to want to lean that way. All right. Okay, so put that in there for now. So as I spin this around, so you all can see it, that's the first possible tree in my planting here. Got the big old tree in the front, and we will trim that guy up a little bit. We will put some rocks around him and secure him. Kind of curves this way and comes back around towards the front. We won't keep this whole front section, so we'll go ahead and we'll pluck him off right there for sure. And that of course could be another planting if I desire to do that. So as you're looking at the tree here, if we spin this around, these could be potential side branches right here. We got the apex coming up here. We know this is going to be way too tall. We'll cut that one back. This one's way too tall. We'll cut that one back. This one's way out here. So just for right now, we just do this simple cuts right here so we can have a tree that is not so top heavy. And I can kind of see where that might go for design later. All right. There's another fun one right here with some decent thickness. I like that it's leaning off to this side. We can have it going off this way with this part of the forest. We can tilt it this way. Maybe it can go this way off the back here if I push this up to the front more. And if I can lay these roots down in a nice way, this might need our little rock in here too. Getting my rock back over here. So I'm thinking about having it lean off that way. And I've got a really tall branch tree here I can put over here, and we got a couple small ones we can put back here. Let's see. We have a fun Y. Simple Y tree that could go pretty good right here. So I'm going to want 5 trees in here, I think. So I got 2 over here. We'll do 3 on this side with the smallest one in the back. Those are nice thick ones for individual plantings, I think. Looking for that good small one to be in the back. Ooh, here's a big one. Be a nice thick one for a solo tree. Let me look at it from my angle here now. This tree stays right here and that one goes over that way. That looks okay. Trying to make the trees not the same, so we get a little bit of variety here with this. Oops, that was a live root. Let me cut that root off. It's a little bit long there, which is why it's sticking out. Here we go. Let's try that again. That was fun. So right now, as a temporary, we got 4 trees in there right now with this big leaning tree. I don't think I want it leaning quite that much. We're probably going to go something more like this. That's going to be a tough one. It really wants to lean. There we go. Got the big one out front here. Got this one in the back with the split coming back here, and this is going to go straight up and hopefully get taller. This is a little bit long on this side, right? So perhaps we go in there and cut that off right away. This is perhaps a little long back this way, so we cut that off right away. Now this one's really fighting us here. It's gonna be a tough one to stand up. And then we have this that can be trimmed off just a little bit there. And then I think I need a real tall one. If I have a really tall tree for back here, I think that would be kind of interesting. We got the foreground. Because sometimes with depth of field, if we have a small tree up front, the tall in the back, and the short in the back, tall in the middle, I should say. So I think this one has to be moved this way a little bit into the front, foreground. And this tall tree back here could be right here. spread out these roots. Try to get them more radial. And then we'll get some more soil. To hold it in temporarily. There we go. My camera conked out unexpectedly about 3/4 of the way through the planting. So I put a few rocks on, I readjusted a couple of trees, and here is what I ended up with. I trimmed them up shorter. We got these two tall ones kind of on the outer skirts, which is a little odd, but hopefully this one will grow up tall. We'll see. We got this side one here that are really cut back here. But let's give it a spin real slowly here for you. Coming up on the right side. You can see the back side. They don't all line up in a line. They're a little bit symmetrical. The rocks add some great texture, but they're really mainly to hold the trunks in place for right now. But here we go. We've got a mini forest. So what was once 4 trees in a pot this size, I've got an extra tree, 5 now. We spread them out here, decent thicknesses, and we'll just let this grow, and it'll be fun to see how this bushes out here over the summer. So we'll put this on the shelf, and then I've got all of this tray over here full of portulacarias. This is 5 trees. I think there are still 10 plus here. We're gonna put them all, or most of them, in individual pots. So let's put this on the shelf. It's been watered lightly, and we're gonna keep going with the individual PA plantings. We're about halfway through the portulacaria afro work today. We've got all these little pots. We've got all these leftover trees with roots from the cutting bin that we had, the pot. So now we're gonna put them in these little pots. So we'll do some organizing here and see what we like. Tree number 1 will go in this green ceramic pot. I've got some soil in there. We're gonna find one of our bigger trees that we had found here. Ah, yeah, here we go. How about this guy right here? Nice big tree here. Not a ton of roots, but they're looking pretty good. We can radial pattern this out here. We can spread them on out. I'm not gonna cut out any more of these roots. We're just gonna put them right in there. And then we're gonna get some of our soil and simply put it on in there. So for these early plantings, there doesn't have to be any major shape design to the tree. We're just getting them into some soil and getting them repotted for the summer months. As you can see, this one's a little top heavy, so we're probably gonna have to find a few more rock structures to hold this up. But after I do a little trimming, perhaps we'll be able to make it not quite so top heavy. So we'll take off my glasses here and give it a whirl. I found some of these small rocks that are bigger than my bonsai soil, and if I can just cradle a few of them around this tree, maybe it'll hold it up until the roots take. So hard to make any big design decisions. We're just going to trim off again some of these leaves, downward facing leaves, and just get this ready to maybe shoot up into a new tree here in the coming year. We just want it to survive. Down in the plant room for a couple more months, and then we'll get it outside with the warmth and this beautiful sunshine, and we'll get that going. I think I'll trim these bottom 2 little branches here on this side branch. Nice. So just making more room for light to come in here, even though it's artificial light. Get these rocks positioned so it doesn't tip over. Right there. Downward facing, downward and up on the inside of the tree. Really intricate little work here with these little tiny PAs. And again, we just transplanted this from the big bin of cuttings from about 2 months ago. Just really flushing out a lot of growth here down in the plant room in the back, kind of the greenhouse section of the plant room here. These rocks are just a little too light but they'll do the job once I stop messing around with it. Again, some leaves that go in, some leaves that go straight down, just to get a little bit more light in here for this first push of growth here in its new pot, so it's ready for a big summer push. So we'll give it a little bit of watering and call that one done. There. So instead of all crowded with all those other ones in this big plastic pot, we've got a nice unique pot. We'll put this underneath the lights and we'll let it go, get it ready for summer outside. With our full spectrum lights in the greenhouse area of the plant room, we've got the one down there. We've got one right there, the little tiny one right there. We come over here, and then we've got the one right here with the rocks on there that we had in the nice blue pot. We have this one right here that's standing up pretty good. And then tucked way back in there is our forest of 5. So we have over 10, 12 new cuttings that are in 2 pots all by themselves, except for a couple of the multiples. And they're ready to grow in the plant room for a couple of months before we bring them outside. So up on the big bench, we got a couple there, a couple of multiple. We got a twin right there, and we got a triple right there. Some of those smaller ones still going to be matched up together. We got this single one right here. We've got this single one right here. We've got our triple right here, this triple trunk. We'll see if that can all fuse together someday to make a big old multi-trunk. We've got this single right here, and then we've got another single right here. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 out here on the main big bench. Well, that was a load of fun. We've got all the PAs taken care of from that pot that we had with about 12 of them in there. Then we had a couple of those pots that had 3 and 4 in there. We've separated most of them out into their individual pots. We have a couple of doubles and triples, and then the one forest. It's gonna be fun to see where they all go this late winter, early spring in the plant room, and then we're gonna get them all outside pretty darn soon. So hey, that does it. We've got another cutting show to do in a little bit. We're gonna go to the top of the fish tank pot, the first one I made, and check out all those cuttings in the next episode. So a lot more to go. We're gonna have multiple trees ready for the springtime. Hey, take care of you, take care of your bonsai. Thanks for watching, everybody, and we'll catch you very, very soon.